Okay, so this 2002 Saturn SC2, a friend of mine just bought it. I didn't I didn't buy it, so it's not my car. But he left it over here so I can kind of look it over, see what all about's wrong with it. Got it for a pretty good price. Paid $1,400 for it. Got it out of a towing yard in town. Actually, it was all the way across town. It's got these ghetto tinted tail lights on it, but I will admit they don't look too bad. Car runs good. It drives pretty good. It does have a few issues. Apparently the story on it, the reason why it was in the tow yard was it was a theft recovery, and whoever stole it left it behind a high school and stole the wheels off of it. They also broke the ignition in the process, so it's got a new ignition in it. Well, not a new one, but one from another SC2 or other Saturn. The interior is in pretty decent condition. We were both kind of surprised about this. The whole car needs a cleaning. This stereo is not even hooked up. He followed me back to my house. I drove it here, but I don't even know if that stereo works or not. It does have AC, but it doesn't blow cold. It's either got a leak or it needs to be recharged. The back seats in these cars, there's not really any room in them. I mean, when I sit back there, my head hits the right over there, and I actually have to tilt my head like, at 45 degrees in order to fit in the back. Glove box. And I'll show you guys what I mean by the ignition. As you can see, everything's all loose here because they went and put a pick and pull unit in. At least that's what I'm assuming where they got it, but it's definitely secondhand because, as you can see, this was more than likely the original key for this car. Both of these were. This one unlocks both the doors and the trunk, and this one, as you can see, it's been shaved. And usually with Saturns, Hondas, Toyotas, if you were to shave the key of any one of those, it would work in the ignition. So that's what they ended up doing. He's more than likely going to buy a new ignition switch for it with a new key. And as you can see here, this the control for the windshield wipers is, well, it's busted. It's all floppy and shit. And the reason for that is, pull this off. You guys can't really see that all that well, but there's like supposed to be another bolt in here. It goes right over here. And unfortunately that's not there, so this thing flops around. But there is a little nub back there, as you can see. So now it kind of half-ass works, but the windshield wiper control is weird because it'll only work when you go down for the mister or all the way up for the highest speed. Let's go ahead and start it up. $126,000 miles on it. And as you guys can hear, it does have an alarm system on it, which more than likely we might just disable, or if he wants to go the extra route and get a new fob for it, he can go ahead and do that. But I'll go ahead and start it up for you guys. And it does run pretty good, at least as far as the motor's concerned. It runs pretty damn smooth. I mean, from where he bought it from all the way to my house was, maybe about 10-15 miles. And aside from the issue it has, the engine was just fine. I mean, it really surprised me how smooth this thing runs. But the problem it does have is either one of the mounts is bad that holds the transmission in place, because when it's going through the gears as you're driving it, it kind of clunks, and it doesn't really hesitate, but it just makes this clunking noise every time it shifts, just about. Or it could be the torque converter, but you know, he didn't really pay all that much for this car, and he is prepared to spend a little bit extra money if it is the torque converter to replace that. But it is a 4-speed automatic. And it does shift into all the gears just fine, you know. I mean, you can't really shift out of first on an automatic when you're just sitting here. But other than that, it's a pretty decent car for the money. I'll go ahead and pop the hood for you guys. All the lights and everything work, and believe me when I say this, that alarm chirp is really annoying. But all the lights work, turn signals work, hazards work. And I don't know if it's a weak blower motor, but it doesn't feel like it's blowing all that much air. Maybe all Saturns are like this, I don't know. I'm not really into Saturns all that much. They're not really my kind of car. Go ahead and leave that open. Before I show you guys the motor, it does have manual windows and locks. And I guess when it was stolen, I forgot to mention, they broke out this window, so you know, all this stuff, they did a real shoddy job of kind of putting everything back together, but you know, it looks like it's good for the most part. What probably happened with that stereo is that's probably just one that the tow yard had laying around, and the people who jacked the car originally probably took the stereo that was in it out of it. At least that's what I'm assuming. But it is a third door. And I'll show you guys just what I mean. There's my head. And there is like no room back there for somebody of my height or my size to sit back here. It's like the back of my head is hitting that part of the deal right there. And like even if I lean back, my head hits the damn rear windscreen. Believe me, it's not exactly easy to get in and out of the back seats on this, even with this third door. It's got the 1.9 liter in it. It runs pretty damn smooth. We might just end up disabling that for the time being. Needs the headlights unfogged. One thing that really surprises me though is these plastic fenders that they have on these cars. Here in California, when it gets really hot, these Saturns, these are dent-resistant fenders, but during the summer months, they end up cracking all along here, just because of the heat. And over time, that's just what happens, you know, to anything made out of plastic when you expose it to a lot of heat. Go ahead and pop the trunk for you guys. It was all the way on E, but he put 20 bucks in it and got half a tank. There's the trunk. And as I said, it needs a few things here and there. There's no spare in it, so we'll have to fix that problem. But the rear seats fold down. And they have these locks right here. Original speakers in it looks like. And as you can see, it's got an aftermarket tent, as well as, you know, some of a tent here on these rear windows. I'll go ahead and take it around the block for you guys. That's going to be no big deal. Parking brake works good. And maybe if you pay real close attention, you can hear how it's kind of making those rumbling noises every time it shifts. I'm just going to take it around the block. And it just did it. So it might be the torque converter. And as you can hear, that damn alarm is still going. But it might be the torque converter. It might be a mount. Hell, I mean, maybe a bolt or two is missing off the transmission mount, because that's a real violent jerk. I mean, I've driven in cars and owned cars that have had bad transmission mounts before, and this is by far the worst any of them's ever acted. Because, I mean, you can feel it kind of jolt when it shifts. But for the price, and the few good things that I will say about these cars is parts are everywhere for them. I mean, they are all over the place. The parts availability for these is just, it's good. And the good thing about that is parts are fairly cheap. They're not that expensive. Here we are back over at my house. And he does have the original pink slip for it. I guess the original owner forfeited the title to the towing yard, which is where they ended up getting these keys. Unfortunately, they didn't have the alarm fob, but, you know, that's an aftermarket alarm anyways. Telltale sign of that is there's no power locks in here. So that alarm was put in after this car was made. So with a little TLC, this should be a pretty good little car. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay classy, and thanks for watching.